Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. If you're watching this, chances are you want to be smart with your money. You're saving, you're planning, and that's fantastic. But what if I told you that despite your best efforts, you might be making some common mistakes that are actually holding you back? And even more surprisingly, what if I told you that you might be saving too much money? Stick around because today we are diving deep into the 3 biggest savings mistakes people in the UK keep making, and most importantly, how to fix them. So without further hesitation, let's get right into it. If this is your first time seeing me, hi, I'm Chidera, and on this channel I share tips on how to save money, how to build wealth, and how to live a happy life. If this sounds like your vibe, please make sure to hit the subscribe button. Alright, so let's start with mistake number 1, which is the cash savings trap. Now I know what you're thinking. Isn't it good to save money? Isn't it good to have cash? Well, yes it is, but that's the problem. People in the UK stop there. They save money and then they stop there, and that's where the mistake is. Okay, so with having cash, you should just have enough cash to cover your emergencies or savings that actually have a purpose. But I'm just going to focus more on the emergency fund bit. Finance experts generally recommend having between 3 to 6 months of your living expenses saved up. Okay, this is money you use for unexpected life events like a job loss or your car breaking down. That's where you take money from. That's why you should have an emergency fund. But here's the mistake: many people keep saving past that amount. You have your emergency fund, but then you just keep saving for the sake of it. That's where the problem is. Now with emergency fund savings, even though the rule of thumb is to have 3 to 6 months of your living expenses, it doesn't mean it has to be that. But then you have to have a goal for your emergency savings. Let me explain what I mean. So how do you calculate how much you should have for your emergency savings beyond the rule of thumb? A couple things. One, what kind of job do you do? So if you do a kind of job that if they fire you today, it's gonna take a while for you to get a job. There are skills that are in high demand, right? There are people that if they lose their job today, within 1 to 3 months, they are likely gonna get another job because of the high demand. And then there are roles that if you lose your job, it could take up to 6 months, if we're being realistic, for you to get another job. So depending on the type of job you're doing, that could also influence how much you should have in your emergency savings. So for example, instead of having the 3 months living expenses saved up, if you have that kind of job that job security is not a thing, you might want to have 6 to 8 months of your living expenses saved up. But point is, for your emergency fund, you should have a cap where you're trying to save towards, rather than just keep saving because you just want to make the emergency fund bigger. The second thing is also, if you're an entrepreneur, so let's say you have your own business, you're the one footing your own bills, you don't do a 9 to 5, then your risk is higher. You can't just have a 3 to 6 months living expense and just relax 100, because you are dependent on yourself to make money. So in that sense, it might be a good rule to have 6 to 12 months of your living expenses saved up. So if you're saving with this kind of goal in mind, that's fine. But if you already have 3 to 6 months of your living expenses in an emergency fund, that might be good enough. It's literally not the best thing to keep saving and just saving for the sake of it. Okay, at this point you're losing money due to inflation, and inflation is just eroding the worth of that money that you're saving up. So at that point, it's a good thing to start investing, to consider investing. Once you've built up your emergency fund to the point that you need it to be, then the next thing to do is to figure out, okay, how do I build wealth? And to build wealth, one of the best things to do is to invest your money. Okay, open the stocks and shares ISA, start investing, even if it's as little as £100. Build momentum, start learning about investing, and then put your money to work for you rather than it working against you, because that extra cash that you're putting towards investing could be a real tool to actually help you build wealth. And when I say build wealth, it must not just be investing. Okay, you can even decide to use that extra money to maybe clear your mortgage debt quicker than you could have imagined. I already even have a detailed video on how to overpay your mortgage fast, and also how to do it the right way. If you've not seen that video, it's going to be linked up here. Make sure to check it out. So moving on to mistake number 2, which is saving with no clear financial goal in mind. This is one of the ones I see happen a lot. People just save money for the sake of it. I think a lot of us have come from a background where savings is first. Okay, savings come first. We are taught that when you have money, when you get money, put savings aside before you spend. Now, while that is a good approach, it can also be a hindrance, okay, to doing more with your money, because you just save for the sake of it. You don't have a need to save, but you're just saving money. I mean, I've had interactions with some clients, because I do some one-on-one calls. Someone I've actually met that had over £70,000 saved up, and the person has no plans on what to do with that money. The person has just known to save, and because of that they save. Now that's one of the biggest mistakes to make. I mean, you can't save money for the sake of it, but at the same time it should not be such a huge amount of money that you're just keeping the cash and doing nothing with it, when that money could do so much more for you and even bring in more money. Okay, I mean, it's okay to have like £1,000, £5,000 that is just money that is lying around. Do you understand? Money that is lying around that you can use for anything if you want. But having a huge chunk of savings that doesn't have a direction, that is a recipe for disaster. Your money should have a purpose. Assign a purpose to every penny. Why are you saving? This huge chunk of savings you have, can you split it into things and be like, okay, this is savings for this is savings for that? Another thing is that when you don't assign a purpose to every penny, then it becomes very easy for you to just spend. I mean, if a situation arises now that someone needs money for XYZ, you're likely going to pull money out of that savings. Why? Because that savings never had a purpose to begin with. You just have savings. What you want to use the money and do, you don't know, but you're saving because you just want to feel like you have savings. That's not a good place to be, okay? Are you saving for a house deposit? Are you saving for retirement? Are you saving for your children's school fees, dream fund? Are you saving for a car? Are you saving for a holiday? You need to assign purpose to the savings that you have. So how can you fix it? How to fix it is to set smart goals, okay? You want to set goals that are specific, measurable, actionable, result oriented, and are time bound. There are several banks in the UK that allow you have savings pots in the same app. So instead of saying, oh, you want to save £30,000 to buy a house, how about working it backwards? How soon would you want to buy a house? Is it in 3 years? Is it in 5 years? When you determine that, then you determine how much do you need to save each of those years in order to have £30,000, okay? Once you determine that amount as well, is then working it backwards to monthly. How much do you need to save monthly in order to hit this amount yearly, in order to be able to buy a house with £30,000 at 5-year mark? So remember, it needs to be specific, it needs to be measurable, it needs to be achievable, it needs to be relevant to you, and it needs to be time bound. This will help you stay motivated and stay on track. So moving on to the last and final mistake. This one is all about loyalty, but I call it a false sense of loyalty. So the mistake is loyalty to low interest accounts. I've said this before and I'll say it again. These banks do not care about you, okay? No business is thinking about you. They're thinking about profit. Every business is out there to make profit. They're out there to raise revenue, make profit, and keep the business going, okay? So they don't care about you. So why do you care about being loyal to a bank that is not loyal to you? There's no point having a lot of savings and just leaving it in the lowest interest account that is out there, just leaving it in a regular bank account because, oh, that's the account you opened when you came to the UK, or because that's the account your friend referred you to open, and you just leave the money there. I've seen people have savings of, like, let's say £10,000, £15,000 in a regular account that doesn't add anything to that money. That is such a huge mistake, okay? You want to ensure that if you have a huge chunk of savings, you're putting it in a high interest savings account. High interest savings account will give you money on the money you put in that account. So for example, there's some high interest accounts that pay me as much as, let's say, £50 a month, £40 a month, £78 a month. Like, it varies. It's not advisable to leave a huge chunk of savings in a low interest account. Shop around, look around, do a search. What high interest savings accounts are out there and which one can you open? Another thing to consider is that many banks even offer incentives for you to move your account to them. So beyond the high interest that they'll give you, there's also like vouchers and different things they offer. So my point is, don't be afraid to shop around for high interest. Another thing to note here is you have to be smart about this, because obviously it can affect your credit score. Something you can do like once every 2 years if possible. Another way to do this, which is even easier, is using tax advantaged accounts, which is like your ISA, your individual savings account. These accounts allow you to save money in them tax free. So you just need to find a cash ISA, which is the one you can use for savings, that has a high interest account. Now the good thing I like about cash ISAs is that you're allowed to transfer your account to another cash ISA provider. So unlike a regular bank account where maybe you have to open another bank account to move your money, and of course nobody wants to be opening bank accounts all the time. It's like, are you okay? With ISA accounts, you can transfer your ISA to another provider. So assuming you are with this provider and their interest rate is like 4.0%, and it's even like their introductory rate where they give you a special rate for like 12 months or whatever. Once you're at the end of that 12 months and then you see another provider is giving like 5 point something% and you want to move your money there, you don't have to now go and create another account. They call it transfer of ISA. So you transfer your ISA to that other ISA provider. So that way it removes that whole, oh, I'm opening another account. No, you're just transferring your money. So with ISA account, it makes it a bit easier for you to be able to move as rates changes, if that makes sense. Because doing this simple thing could save you extra pounds each year from your money already. So your money can actually even work more for you. Just be sure to read the terms and conditions of whatever switch you're making. But overall, this simple move could save you a lot of pounds, or could earn you a lot more pounds than your regular bank account is currently doing. So alright guys, there we have it. Those are the 3 biggest mistakes that savers in the UK keep making. Let me know if any of this applies to you. Is there anyone you're guilty of, and what actions are you going to take today to try and fix that or to remediate that? If you found this video helpful, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Until next time guys, thank you so much for watching. Bye bye.